Today's locale is Saira Rao, who is a failed Congress candidate who experience revolves around hating white people and then grifting people for money. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and let's get into it. I just gotta say, this is probably the first time I've seen women actually get attacked, which is like big ups for guys. Usually it's guys getting attacked, so this is just like a complete different take on the story. Rao is a middle-aged Indian American woman whose greatest accomplishment is being the laughingstock on Twitter. Rao's Twitter feed is endlessly diatribed against white people whom she believes are all guilty of oppression. Of course, since she is super quote-unquote marginalized, a woman of color, she feels it's her duty to educate the evil whites about the error of their ways. Oh, and of course she charges them to suffer through meals that she and another person came up with. Race to Dinner. Race to Dinner is the name of Rao's anti-racism efforts, heavy quotes on anti-racism, which she co-leads with a woman named Regina Jackson. At this dinner, rich white woke women paid Jackson and Rao to berate them about how racist they are over a meal. I should mention that this meal is $2,500 for each white woman to attend. This is what the project is about. Dear white women, if you have caused immense pain and damage to brown and black women, we are here to sit down with you to candidly explain how you caused this pain and damage. We are not here to change anything. We are here to express the pain you have caused, white women. What you do after leaving the dinner is up to you. We don't care about your feelings. Sit with that for a minute. Feelings pale in comparison to the violence you have caused black and brown women. Sincerely, Regina Jackson and Saira Rao. This whole race to dinner, or you could call it race to the bank, was mainly to get people to pay. This whole event was to not only berate people into saying that they were guilty, these white women, but for Rao and Jackson to get a shit ton of money. They would lead to deactivating their Facebook and then move their content from their blog to a Patreon where it's all paid wall. If their goal was to actually educate white women, they wouldn't put this behind a paywall. This little snippet I'm about to read is taken from an article about Race to Dinner. Rao complained about being called aggressive in this article. There will be no tears at dinner, no overt anger, fear, expressions of guilt. The behaviors D'Angelo warns of. There will not be any dialogue either. Rao and Jackson hold the court for 2 hours, touching on a range of topics. The white women absorb their stories, pain, anger, and sweeping generalization about white women. Quote unquote, you guys are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. You could have shut down the whole entire operation after Sandy Hook, and all you do is hashtag and wear pink pussy hats and safety pins. It's not the NRA that's responsible for this, but it's all of you, white women, could have shut down the entire operation after Sandy Hook, and you have chosen not to, said Rao. Berates the white women for their compliance in everything from U.S. gun culture to the rape of enslaved women in the antebellum era. Why do you consider to choose your race over gender? Rao questions the group. Of course, the article ends with a quote from Rao asking for money. The evening ends with a call to action and some specific steps white women need to take. Some of these are simple, like reaching out to the one individual or family of color at a school event, or inviting one of your children's non-white classmates over for a play date. Quote unquote, stop writing checks to yourselves. Take all the money and do a little bit of research and find the black and brown women candidates, women companies, women documentarians, nonprofits, and businesses. Give us the money and we will make sure that all boats rise, said Rao. And a little bit after the article came out, some of these women that have attended the dinner were coming to the aid of Rao and Jackson, and usually saying some good things. But what did Rao and Jackson say with their official Facebook account? They say, well, we appreciate your support, but please make sure to come back and subscribe to our Patreon. They're asking their supporters to give them more money. Her efforts to grift money from guilt-ridden white women are gaining notoriety. Rao is best recognized as the woman with the craziest woke takes on Twitter. She often says something somewhat inconspicuous about race relationships. Then later on that day goes off on an unhinged tangent about how white women are basically the root of all evil. These are some of her hot take tweets. Remember, she's an upper class and a former lawyer. This is what she is wasting her life doing. Some tweets read, "Dear white folks, white guilt without action is simply centering your feelings, which is white supremacy. Please don't tell me how quote-unquote bad you feel when you are unwilling to do the work. Thanks." Or the other one, "The American flag makes me sick." And the other one, "White liberals, you rage against conservatives, Republicans, and Fox News without acknowledging how you are no different. This lacks the self-awareness, is killing brown and black people. You are killing brown and black people. Now please return to your handmade tail robes and CNN." I think it's really funny reading these tweets because literally it reads like a race-flipped alt-right screaming about like them, but she doesn't realize that she's doing this because she's too dumb to realize it. She allegedly received death threats because of her tweets, which was posted during her congressional campaign. A Black Power website, The Root, praised the tweet. The tweet was, "Short and long answer, yes. Should I give up on white people?" Months after writing this, the Huffington Post, about why she's breaking up with the Democratic Party, Rao launches a congressional campaign for Colorado State House as a Democrat, but lost the primary. She would go on and start writing novels. One about how it's thinly veiled quote-unquote fiction about her time as a law clerk. So getting revenge on people she doesn't like is kind of like her thing. And as a review for this book, she inserts herself as the heroine, completely unlikable, and does nothing but ridicule and rail against every other character who has quote-unquote done wrong or annoyed her. Some of the more recent kind of things of her is she keeps going on and she hates white people, but then she goes on during like 2021, she's like, "Oh, you guys gotta stop the Asian hate hashtag. Once Black Lives Matter, then we all matter." Goes on and tweets that gay white men are still white and that's why she hates them too. She's also still on that money grind with her book that was horrendous, and she is still trying to push it. An article said that Rose said, sending a message about need for more diversity in the publishing industry, which has traditionally excluded writers of color like herself, and made her books harder to sell. In 2023, remember how she said that, Asian lives don't matter, but she's calling herself now Asian too. And she said, "My fellow Asians, another black man has been murdered by the police, this time the LAPD. His name was Keegan Anderson. We Asians are complicit for his murder until and unless we dismantle our anti-blackness. We are complicit in his murder. Every time we cross the street, when we see a black person, we are complicit. Every time we lock our doors, we are complicit. Every time we talk bad about sketchy schools and neighborhoods, we are complicit. So where do we start? We acknowledge our anti-blackness. You cannot change if you don't acknowledge. I'll go first. I'm anti-black. Now your turn." A little bit, she closed down her accounts, but the latest news that the Kiwi Farms has about her is that Sarah and several others had deleted their ex accounts after being tricked into doing an interview for the undercover movie by Matt Walsh entitled "Am I a Racist?" How did they get into this movie? So, as someone put it on the Kiwi Farm, the scene is where Matt Walsh goes undercover as a waiter for one of Rao and Regina's dinners. So that was the story of Saira Rao. I just wanted to cover it because this woman is nothing but a grifter. She's manipulating and using buzzwords to get money, and her co-conspirator is too. And I just think it's funny because she is just everything. She's just a race flop of everything that she claims to hate. She's just that, perfect example, alt-right person typing and just screaming on the internet all day and getting no response, so screaming some more. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.